So you want to hunt the national forest in Texas. Idiot. Just like me. But you're saying, I want to hunt big bucks, muy grandes, swamp donkeys, mossbacks, sledgehammers. And you're saying, Seth, where do I start? Where do I go? Can it be done? Let's get into it. What is going on, everybody? Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out the channel as well as this video. And if you're here right now, it's because you've got some interest in hunting national forest in Texas, and it is a blast and it is a challenge to say the least. But you want to know where you can get a head start and go find the biggest bucks. Easier said than done, but based on the information I have, the history that I have researched, people that I've talked to, I'm going to try to give you some insight on where I think your best chance is to go find a public land giant in Texas, which there are 4 national forests in Texas. So we're going to give you the top national forest for a big buck in Texas. So without further ado, let's get started. So we all know that Texas, relative to its size, has a very small portion of public land, especially walk-in public land, to hunt. So actually there are 4 national forests in Texas, one being the Angelina National Forest, 2, Sam Houston National Forest, 3, Davy Crockett National Forest, and 4, Sabine National Forest, all located primarily in East Texas. And we are going to break down some of that information today and tell you where some of these big bucks live. And we are going to run through the information for each location and try to determine where our best chance is for killing a big buck. So first off, we have the Angelina National Forest. It is 153,000 acres. It's located in Angelina County, Nacogdoches County, San Augustine County, and Jasper County in East Texas. It lies in the upper Gulf coastal region, and the terrain is basically, it's kind of gently rolling. It has a lot of longleaf pine predominant, and it's in the southern portion, and loblolly pine and shortleaf pine are the dominant types in the rest of the forest. You don't hear a whole lot about Angelina as it's kind of tucked in the middle of the rest of the national forest, but it does produce some big bucks. I have talked to some people, found some folks that have shot some really nice deer, a couple of deer probably pushing 140. And it's kind of in a central location where you can travel to other national forests in between there. There's not a real populated area in that area, so it can be a great place to hunt. So second, we have the Davy Crockett National Forest, and a lot of people are familiar with Davy Crockett. It's huge. It's famous for Mr. Davy Crockett himself. The Davy Crockett National Forest is 160,000 acres and is proclaimed a national forest by Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1936. It's also home to other areas like the Big Slough Wilderness Area, the Alabama Creek Wildlife Management Area, and it lies in Houston and Trinity counties, and it's also part of the Natchez and Trinity River Basin. Because I know now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking River Basin, big bucks. And that is true. There has been some studs come out of Davy Crockett National Forest. Pretty much every year, if you look hard enough, you can find several decent bucks over the last couple of years. One buck for sure that I know of went over 160. Others that are definitely pushing that score level, but definitely that 140 plus. Those river bottom deer that come out of there can be some absolute tanks coming out of there. Next, we have the Sabine National Forest, and it is the easternmost national forest that we have here in Texas, and some of it borders the border between Texas and Louisiana. It's basically situated on the western slopes of the Sabine River, with being Sabine, San Augustine, Shelby, Jasper counties, and also has an area called Moore Plantation as part of the public hunting system, which has also been known for some great deer, but is not considered part of the walk-in program in that particular national forest. And something interesting about today's national forest, what you see are second growth or third growth forests that are a result of federal forest management under multiple use and ecosystem management concepts since 1905. The policy for management in the national forest has basically been the greatest good for the greatest number of years for the greatest number of people. And in 1960, Congress passed an act provided additional authority to the Forest Service, directing it to continue what it had been doing since 1905, to give consideration to range, timber, wildlife, fish, soil, and one of the biggest things is outdoor recreation. There have been some really good deer come out of Sabine. It is tough hunting, I know. I know just in the last couple years, there's a really nice 130 plus deer that came out of there, a couple of mid 120s that I've talked to some folks that hunted that area. Some really good deer out there if you are willing to work for it. And last, we have the Sam Houston National Forest, which everybody is familiar with, kind of like Davy Crockett for Mr. General Sam Houston himself. I know I have spent a lot of time there. The Sam Houston National Forest is 163,000 acres located between Huntsville, Conroe, Cleveland, and with land in Montgomery and Walker and San Jacinto counties. It's kind of intermingled with a lot of private land. It's pretty sprawled out, and there's even private pieces kind of stuck in the middle of chunks that are kind of landlocked that you can just walk up on private properties, and these folks are surrounded by public land. This particular national forest is known to well-known recreational areas such as Winter's Bayou, Tarkenton Creek, the Lone Star Hiking Trail, and Little Lake Creek Wilderness. I think I said that right. This area gets pressured a lot being so close to Houston and Cleveland, and a lot of people come from all over. I've seen people drive down from Austin to come hunt the National Forest, and Sam Houston probably got family somewhere around in Houston. So you come out, get your $40 APH hunting permit, walk out and have a good time. So it can certainly be tough hunting as well. But now that you know about all of these national forests, which one do you want to go to for your best chance to shoot a big buck? And if you're asking me based on what I know and the information that I have through Texas, through people, Texas doesn't really do that great of a job about documenting harvest records when it comes to the national forest, but you can do some research. There's a Texas registry. It's not really associated with that. It's kind of open. You can find some information on that, but not a ton. But if you want to find the biggest bucks, I'm going to tell you right now, straight up, and we can talk about it later, but you want to head out to Davy Crockett National Forest. For the reasons I mentioned earlier, being in that Neches River Basin, that Trinity River Basin, there are some huge deer that come out of there, basically close to Boone and Crockett deer. There's been 180s, there's been 200-inch deer shot within that vicinity, and I think a lot of it has to do with the particular WMAs that are sort of intermingled with that area. You have Alabama Creek, and you have Alizan Bayou, which are, you can apply for hunts there, but they are very strictly managed, and there's usually big deer that come out of there every year, and they're right there in the middle of Davy Crockett National Forest. Similar to Sabine National Forest, they have the Moore Plantation that is part of that national forest system, and it's a little more strictly managed, and there's also a lot of great deer that come off of there. But basically Davy Crockett, with that river bottom and the diversity that goes on there, you see great bucks come out of there every single year. So if you are traveling to see some family up in East Texas, stop and get that APH permit, get you a map, get onX, whatever your tool of choice is, and head on out there to Davy Crockett National Forest and go run down some big bucks, because they are there. You know, Texas National Forest is not known for a lot of big deer, but it's kind of like, you know, not everywhere can produce a big deer, but a big deer could be produced anywhere. And you certainly see that all the time. And of course, it's also going to depend on who you ask, because there's some folks out there that's saying, hey, I hunt Sabine and I've killed 4 bucks in the last 4 years. I actually talked to a guy just like that the other day. And you know, it's kind of like the old saying goes too, right? It's 10% of the hunters kill 90% of the deer, because the guys who are putting in the effort, the work, they've got the spots, the historical knowledge, they're out there the ones having the most success, and we're trying to learn from them. So I don't have it figured out either, so I'm here with you trying to get that leg up also and share that information. I hope you learned a little bit of something in this video, and it gives you the confidence to go out there and chase some big deer. Actually, I think we should start a Texas Slam, and actually my long-term goal is to shoot a decent buck in every national forest in Texas. We got a ways to go, let's just say that. So thank you guys for checking out this video, and before you go, if you got something out of this video, just subscribe, drop me a comment down below, and let me know what your opinion is. If you hunt one of these specific areas and you think it's top notch for big bucks, let me know and shoot me some messages. Let me know. I want to talk hunting with you so we can trade information, trade tactics, anything that we can learn from each other. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And it's almost deer season. Get out there, get some cameras up, do your scouting. Shared some pictures of bucks on a water hole, giant Texas public land buck, shared from a friend of mine who's been doing out scouting, and the deer are just hammering the water holes right now, heavy. So good luck guys, and we'll see you on the next video.